going on, people? Welcome to Box Center, my peoples. This is your favorite boxing show. I'm up in here with Martin and Joseph Brown, one on one with Jay Smith. Um, Joseph, I already seen your accomplishments, so I feel kind of goofy asking this question, but I gotta ask: are you ready for this smoke?
Always.
Okay, that's what's up. So I'm gonna start off first with your pops, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Pops, listen,
All
man.
right.
Everybody knows how talented Joseph is, how accomplished he is. Can you tell me how many combat, for the casual fans, how many combat sports has Joseph trained in?
Okay, so he started out in Shotokan. Then from there he went into boxing. From there kickboxing. From there Muay Thai. From there Taekwondo and then Jiu-Jitsu. So five different styles of combat sports.
Okay, now what attracted him to? Because most of the times we see kids who want to stick to that one sport. What
Yeah.
attracted him to want to be competitive in so many different combat sports?
Well, I mean, I practiced martial arts all my life, so I wanted all my kids to train in martial arts. Be honest with you, it's more of an anti-bullying tactic. You know what I mean? Because when I was growing up, I was fighting a lot in school and all that stuff. So once I started really training at a young age, kids stopped messing with me because they knew I could fight. So they'd rather be my friend. So I kind of like had that in mind for all my children because I wanted them to be able to go to school, have fun, focus on school, do well in school, and not have to worry about fighting and going through all kind of bullying and depression and everything that brings about. So it was from my lifestyle. I spent my whole entire life training. And so I just kind of wanted to pass that on to my kids that they could enjoy the life of a martial artist. Teach you respect, humility. Exercise is always good for you, brings calmness to your life. It gives you drive and determination in life to accomplish things, especially when you get your black belt. It's the biggest accomplishment for a kid to get that black belt. It sets a precedence for the rest of their life that whatever they start, they can finish if they put in the work.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. So what I'm getting from this though is that when you introduce them into combat sports, it wasn't really a plan to become a champion and to have all these accomplishments. It was more about discipline, self-defense. It was more about personal as opposed to those accomplishments that came afterwards.
I would say before I even had kids, that was the plan. And all my kids have trained and continue to train now to this day. But Joseph just showed extraordinary skill. And I just knew I could tell. Everybody knows their kids. And I could tell him out of all five of my kids, well, my youngest one, she's almost one, so I can't really count her, even though she already showing signs of being a fighter. Um, Joseph, I knew he was different, and I knew this was something he was going to be good at.
Let me ask you the magic question then. How old was Joseph when you saw something that you say, okay, there's something special here?
About 2 months old, almost 2 months. He could stand up. He could pull himself up on furniture and just hold himself up. He had motor skills at an age that's really physically impossible. That's like when he did that, I told my wife at that time, I said, that's medically impossible for a kid that age to be. He ain't even supposed to be hold his head up, but he's standing up. And I said, you're looking at a world champion.
Wow.
You're looking at a world champion. I already knew it.
Now, once he started competing, right?
Mm.
And you saw him winning and knocking kids out and all of that good stuff. Is there a performance that sticks out that you can think of like, wow, when I saw this fight, I was like, oh man, this is real.
Two fights stand out. His first boxing match that he had, he was 10 years old. I think he turned 11 the night before. And he ended up landing the second fastest knockout in amateur boxing history, just right under Mike Tyson by 2 seconds. And when that happened, I already knew. I said, definitely something's different because he was fighting an undefeated fighter that was a state champion in his first fight in the novice division. And the next fight, I think, is a Taekwondo fight. He might have been 10 or 11, maybe turned 11. and it was an international tournament in Taekwondo. And he fought against the U.S. national champion, who I think might have been ranked number 3 in the world at the time, something like that. And the kid was 14 in high school. Joseph was in 6th grade, and Joseph ended up beating him. It was a close fight all the way to the end. I mean, to the last 5 seconds when he got the last kick in it, and he won. But those are the kind of things that let me know he was special and that he knew how to win. Each fight that Joseph had, many times he's fought against a lot more better, experienced competition, people that was in the game for a long time. But Joseph always finds a way to win, man. His ring IQ, I think, is his greatest asset. Really, he figures out how to win. Before that fight's over, he's already figured out a strategy to win.
Now, taking into account, man, that Joseph has been winning, like every sport that he competes in, he wins at a high level, right? Is are you guys going to put that focus on boxing, or is he going to venture into other combat sports?
His focus for now is boxing. However, he still continues to train in MMA regularly, on a regular basis, continuing to improve. And a lot of people might say, well, he's not competing in it, then he's just going to jump in. Well, I mean, we was 2.5 years out the ring with COVID in Canada. The lockdown was longer here than anywhere in the world. So for 2.5 years, we were in my basement training, man. And I would go pick people up to come spar with them from their home, bring them to my house, they'll spar. We'll cook them dinner 3 times a week. And when he came out of he was 13 when we went into COVID. He was 15 and a half when we came out. He came out, he went to Detroit, he won the tournament there, then he went to New York, he won the tournament there. He came back to Canada, he fought in the National Kickboxing Championship, he won that. Then he went back to the U.S. and fought in the National Boxing Championships, he won that. Then he came back to Canada and about 3 weeks later fought in the World Championships and he won that. So all that, oh, well, he ain't competing, well, I don't care about none of that. We're going to be training, we're going to be working. We're going to be sparring with the highest level fighters and champions in MMA, in kickboxing. And when the time is right, we're going to call Dana White, we're going to cross over, and we're going to get that belt. I'm not arrogant. I'm just very confident. And we already got this whole thing planned out. And so far, everything that we have planned since he was a little kid, every year I've told my wife and many, many other people, at the age of 7, he's going to do this. At the age of 8, that's going to happen. At the age of 15, he'll be a world champion. At the age of 17, Floyd's going to sign him. You can go back and check a lot of my Facebook and everything, and you'll see those words 7 years ago. Everything I said happened. Everything became a world champion at 15. Floyd signed him at 17. He turned pro at 17. Everything I confessed in Jesus' name 10 years ago is happening now. Because I trust, we put in the work, but we trust God to do the rest. We put the work in, and the rest we put in His hands.
Amen, my brother. But I have to make sure that I understood this correctly. So I just want to clarify. Are you telling me that Joseph Brown is going to be a world champion in boxing and a world champion in MMA simultaneously?
Absolutely, and maybe kickboxing too if we want to do that, if we decide to do that. Maybe all 3.
Okay, there you have it, my people. I wasn't expecting that because obviously, to become a world champion in MMA is tough. Just as tough as it is in boxing. So for him to be able to do that simultaneously, obviously that would be historical. Wow.
Well, let me tell you who his MMA coach is. Francis Ngannou, the heavyweight champion in MMA. Dewey Cooper is his trainer. All right. Dewey Cooper not only trained him, but many, many other world champions in MMA and kickboxing. So Dewey Cooper been Joseph's trainer since Joseph was 13 in MMA and kickboxing. One of his main trainers. And Dewey is the one that's gone around the world and told everybody, I got a kid that's going to be a champion in boxing, kickboxing, and MMA simultaneously. This coming from one of the best coaches, if not the greatest MMA coach on the planet today.
You can't be more certified than that. You just can't.
Nope.
Now, I've seen Joseph train with very well-known coaches in boxing. Roy Jones and others. Can you tell me some of the names of the coaches and even boxers that Joseph has sparred with?
coaches he worked with and boxers he sparred with.
Yeah.
So I start with here in Canada. We got 8-time world champion, Muay Thai world champion Simon Bad Boy Marcus. We got Bazooka Joe Valtellini, one of the best kickboxers that came out of Canada in the world. We got Jeff Mayweather, obviously Dewey Cooper, Otis Pimpleton down there in the Mayweather gym. We got Bozy Ennis, Aaron Ford, myself, and a couple really good boxing coaches here in Canada. Unknown, but very great, very, very good coaches that's working with him now. Sean and another brother named John that's working with him here. As far as fighters, man, there's just been so many. He sparred Chris Eubanks, Jerron Boots Ennis several times, Rolly Romero. What's the Cuban 2-time world champion you sparred down in Vegas the last time, a couple times ago? Rancis Bartholomew, something like that. And just man, just there's a long list. I can't think of all of them right here. There's lots of champions he sparred, over the years.
Now taking into account, all of the accomplishments, all of the, people that he's worked with, I'm saying I know that there are very, very high expectations on Joseph. How do you guys handle that type of pressure?
To be honest with you, man, the pressure's been on since the very beginning. A decade ago, when he was, 6, 7 years old, this was always the plan. So the pressure always been on me to make him a world champion and to get him signed by Floyd, keep him undefeated. All these goals being accomplished now, that stress was on me 10 years ago because I saw them ahead of time. So it never really changed. It always feels the same. I don't get too worked up about looking too far ahead. I'm one fight at a time. Okay, we got a goal. We got a vision. We know where we want to go. But we're not trying to overlook this next guy that's in front of us. We got to get this one. And then, we can go start thinking about the future. But then when the next fight come up, we got to focus on that guy. We got to get one fight at a time, one step at a time, one brick at a time. That's how you build a house.
And you guys have been, preparing in combat sports, and you spoke a bit about martial arts. So I'm guessing that you've also been preparing him mentally since he was very young.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, I appreciate you answering those questions for me, my brother.
All right.
If you could let me ask Joseph a few questions.
No problem.
Man, I just feel like asking you, why do you hit so damn hard? Golly. Watching this video, just, whoa, that's bad. Joseph.